They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but sometimes it comes in the form of a single word. No. In middle school, there was this girl who made my life quietly miserable. Not full-blown bullying, just constant snark, little jabs, eye rolls, death by 1,000 paper cuts. Years later, the memory still makes me smile, because one day, I finally got my moment. It was small, it was petty, and it was perfect. If you ever want to say no to someone who used to make you feel small, hit that like button and subscribe. Because sometimes the smallest act of revenge, the quiet ones, leave the biggest mark. Middle school, the age of awkward haircuts, bad cafeteria food, and kids who think sarcasm is a personality. That's where I met her. Let's call her Samantha. She wasn't my worst nightmare, but she was that person who could ruin your mood with just a few words. Always slightly snide, never outright cruel, but sharp enough to make you feel it. She'd mock my answers in class when I got them wrong, roll her eyes if I got them right, make little comments when we were prepared for projects, stuff like, "Oh, I guess I'll have to carry this one." The kind of behavior teachers never notice because it's never quite bad enough to call out. I wasn't confrontational. I hated attention. So I just take it. Pretend I didn't hear, fake a laugh, act like it didn't sting. But it did. It sat there quietly, piling up resentment brick by brick. I'd go home and replay conversations in my head, imagining what I could have said. But in real life, I said nothing. Then came our end-of-year field trip, the great middle school skating rink adventure. Everyone was buzzing. The place was chaos in the best way. Disco lights, bad pop music, the smell of nachos and cheap pizza. But what caught everyone's attention weren't the skates. It was the bouncy ball machines. You know the ones, bright, colorful, and impossible to resist. 25 cents, and out popped a little orb of pure joy. A few kids in my class went wild, feeding quarters into every dispenser like they were in a Vegas casino. Soon, they were bouncing everywhere, ricocheting off walls, rolling under tables, hitting ankles. By the end of the trip, it was like a currency system. Kids were trading them, swapping colors, challenging each other to collect sets. Me, I joined in. I spent a few dollars, laughed, chased after them. And by the time we boarded the bus home, I had a Ziploc bag full of bouncy balls. Dozens of them, bright, shiny, and perfectly round trophies of one good day. It was the first time in a long while I felt carefree. We got back to school, and everyone spilled out of the buses in a loud, tired mess. I was holding my bag of bouncy balls like treasure, the plastic crinkling in my hands. And that's when I heard it. Her voice. Samantha. She was right behind me. She must have noticed the bag because she called out, all sugary sweet, "Hey, can I have a couple of those?" It wasn't a question. It was an expectation. That same tone she always used, like the world owed her something. I stopped walking. For a split second, all those memories rushed in. Every eye roll, every cutting comment, every time I bit my tongue while she smirked. She thought I'd just hand them over, because that's who I'd always been. The quiet one, the pushover. Not today. I turned around, looked her straight in the eye, and said, simply, no. No excuses. No fake smile. No guilt. Just no. For the first time, I saw her face twist, not into amusement, but surprise. She blinked like she couldn't believe it. Seriously? You can't just give me one. Her tone had that sharp edge again. But this time, I wasn't flinching. I shrugged and turned back around. The sound of her annoyed sigh followed me down the hallway, and I swear I've never felt lighter. It wasn't revenge on a grand scale. I didn't ruin her life. I didn't even make a scene. But that no, that was for every moment I stayed quiet while she chipped away at my confidence. That tiny, simple no was the loudest thing I'd ever said to her. The beauty of it was in how small it was. I didn't shout. I didn't insult her. I didn't even raise my voice. I just refused. And that refusal hit harder than anything else I could have done. Her annoyance. It wasn't just about a couple of bouncy balls. It was about losing control. Losing the upper hand she'd held over me for years. In that moment, I wasn't her target anymore. I was just done. And even though she probably forgot about it 5 minutes later, I never did. That memory lives rent-free in my head, glowing like one of those neon-colored bouncy balls. Because that was the first time I realized something powerful. Sometimes revenge doesn't come from getting even. It comes from finally standing up for yourself. Looking back now, it's funny. She probably doesn't remember my name. But I remember that day every time I have to say no to someone who underestimates me. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge isn't loud or dramatic. It's calm, confident, and final. Just one small no that echoes louder than all the times you said yes. If you've ever had that one person who made you feel small, and you finally got your quiet revenge, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, and share this story if it reminded you that standing up for yourself doesn't always take a fight. Sometimes it just takes one word. No.